just thought we'd start this video with a bit of King Crush action, because why not? King Crush on board, a cube in hand, play dead in hand. That is an awful lot of face damage. And this is Death Rattle Hunter on standard mode. I'm a massive fan of Death Rattle Hunter. But now that we've got that out of the way, let's switch gears and let's head to wild mode. And we're heading back to Duwin's Subject 9 Hunter. This is a deck that I've featured before on my channel. And I told you before that this was one of my favourite decks to play on wild mode. It still is one of my favourite decks to play. This season in November I managed to go from rank 5 to rank 3 without losing any games whilst playing this deck. It's incredibly strong. And in my previous video I was remarking that I never got a chance to play Azalina Soul Thief or to get value from her. And I just thought we'd just revisit this deck just to showcase its power, but to also talk about the power of Azalina Soul Thief. I was sitting on the train a few days ago and playing on my smartphone, and suddenly an opportunity presented itself to play Azalina and to actually get value. Now, unfortunately, the sound setting wasn't on with the app that I was using to record the footage, so there's no sound here, so apologies for that. But going up against the big priest, I was able to copy his hand, and you just look at the sheer amount of value that we've got there. We were able to steal Ragnaros, and essentially that is what got us the victory. Rag hit him in the face, and then that allowed us to finish him off with the Eagle Horn bow and the hero power. But if we'd needed more minions to play, if we'd needed a bit more value, just to go on for a tad longer, if you look at our hand, Azalina gave us everything that we would need. So, just to showcase the power of Azalina Soul Thief, because it was not something that I was able to show you in our previous video. If you're going the long game against a slower deck, she is phenomenal, because she's essentially a hand refill. Speaking of value, Deathstalker Rexar now has to be my favourite card in all of Hearthstone. Just the infinite value from those zombie beasts, where you can discover beasts to take care of any given situation on the board. If you need a poisonous minion, you get a poisonous minion. Do you need a taunt? You get a taunt. It's just phenomenal. So we're going to look at a few games of this deck in action now on the wild mode ladder in the November season. Just once again showcasing how strong this deck can be. The tempo it can buy you on the board is fantastic, because you've got all of these early secrets that you can play. I've had a number of occasions where I've been able to play a whole load of secrets for free, because you know, you play Subject 9 and Cloaked Huntress. Both of those played together on turn 8 is pretty insane, because then all of your secrets are just free. Alternatively, play Subject 9 on turn 5, and then on turn 6, if you have the Huntress in hand, you play her and play all your secrets for free. Secrets on their own, individually, aren't always incredibly powerful, but playing 5 secrets at the same time is an incredibly powerful thing, because it creates a situation against your opponent where whatever they do, whether they attack your face, whether they play a spell, whatever they do, they're probably going to lose out massively in some capacity, because 5 secrets in play, you're covered for pretty much every eventuality. So yeah, Subject 9, Cloaked Huntress combo, pretty amazing. The other way you win with this deck is the Spellstone. You play the secrets early, you buff up that Spellstone, and on turn 5 you play 4 wolves. And sometimes that's just something that they can't deal with. 4 wolves coming down quite early, before turn 10 at the very least, can just be enough pressure to help win you the game. So let's have a look at this deck in action on the wild mode ladder, and we're going to look at why this is still one of my favourite decks to play in all of Hearthstone.
Golems are a girl's best friend.
Golems are a girl's best friend. What does that even mean? So it gets the Jade Druid, Subject 9, drawing us all of those glorious secrets. And it's time to make a Christmas tree. Actually managing to buff a secret keeper at the same time. That's pretty awesome. Now, I do have a freezing trap up. So that Aya is in a bit of a tough position. If he attacks with Aya, she goes back to hand. She's more expensive. He can replay her, and she can summon a golem, so he gets some value. But that will pretty much be his entire turn if he pursues that course of action.
Behold the rage of the Firelands.
So he's doing his best here to clear up the board. But against all the value that we've been able to generate, his deck is still too slow here. Now, there are some decisions to make here. Tracking lets us hunt for something useful. I'm going to take the cat trick because it's going to be free to play. We buff the Secret Keeper. He'll have more spells in hand, so we're guaranteed to get a trigger on the cat trick at some point soon. The next question is, what do I want to play on the board? Spellbreaker or Houndmaster Shaw? I'm leaning towards the Houndmaster here. And the idea now is to clear every minion apart from Aya. So he'll have to attack into the freezing trap. We have our Christmas tree of secrets back. This is good. And for him, I guess, what is he waiting for here? He's waiting to get big Jade Golems out, right? But there's still quite a way to go before he can achieve that. And we need to kill him before that happens. So, Houndmaster Shaw was not killed, so we take advantage of that. We clear everything apart from Aya. We are slightly vulnerable to swipe here because our Secret Keeper is down to 1 health. But it's still fine. We still have a pretty good board presence regardless of that. We also have our Christmas tree of secrets. 5 secrets, that's just a lot of value there for us. And how many more turns will it be before that Aya actually attacks into something? Now, Lotheb is an interesting pickup. It's his turn 9 last turn, which means we're heading to turn 10. Turn 10 is often Ultimate Infestation, and that's often how a druid can come back into the game. So I'm strongly considering the Lotheb, but actually, I'm thinking about Deathstalker Rexar here. I'm going to get that hero power in while I can, to get the damage in. And playing Rexar here lets me trade 2 minions in to the taunts and push a good amount of damage face. So made the decision to play Rexar rather than Lotheb. Even if he has Ultimate Infestation here, I don't think it's going to be enough for him.
A tangled web.
Because we still have quite a lot of damage on that board. And now he finally attacks him with the Aya. Goes back to hand. Maybe he should have done that on an earlier turn, just to get rid of the freezing trap. I don't know. So he had the Spreading Plague, which is unfortunate. But it's his desperation move, right? Because he wants to survive here.
Is not.
And in some ways I'm happy that I played Rexxar rather than Lotheb. Because Rexxar is now live, and we can start fishing for value with the zombie beasts. But actually, on this particular turn, is there really a need to do that? Because we have Lotheb. We have a Spellbreaker. So we can actually silence one of his taunts here.
Your magic shall not save you.
And actually we can use it to attack him, yeah. I was trying to do the math in my head. Being rather slow at it, but he concedes. So, we just outvalued him.
Right.
Okay. Even Shaman. So, if we look at our hand, we have 2 secrets available to us. We also have the Cloaked Huntress. I was debating between Bear Trap and Explosive there. Happy to go with the Bear Trap, just because I think I can get more value later on Explosive. Maybe when he's loaded up the board with more totems. But actually now with double Cloaked Huntress in hand, I think we just play the Explosive here. There's no reason to hold back on it when we can play it for free and buff up our Spellstone. That's really, really important. He just coined a Hex sounds. That's really interesting. The fact that he runs Hex as Even Shaman is very interesting, and the fact that he coined it out is even more interesting. He obviously saw the Cloaked Huntress as a threat, but unbeknownst to him, I had no more secrets to play. And that's the second Hex. I just find that so fascinating. Because now we have 4 wolves on the board. And he's used both hexes. Wow. I guess in his eyes, if he thinks I'm a secret hunter, he probably thinks those hexes aren't going to get much better, right? If there was a minion to hex in the deck, Cloaked Huntress is a good candidate for a hex. But I have Deathstalker Rexxar in hand, so we're going to start making those zombie beasts very soon. And there will certainly be beasts that we make that are good candidates for hex. So he may regret throwing away those hexes so quickly. Now, that's a pretty scary board. Sea Giant, Thing from Below, Flame Tongue Totem available to him. That's a really, really scary board. There's Subject 9. It's a shame we didn't have the Cloaked Huntress to go with it. Deathstalker Rexxar here does a serious amount of work. Immediately removing 3 bodies from that board. Let's see if he's got Maelstrom Portal to get through those frogs. No, he doesn't. And he doesn't want to attack with the Sea Giant either. That's really interesting. So we draw some secrets here. Okay. So that's good value. I feel kind of bad about not utilising the Rexxar hero power here on these turns. But I'm at a point where I don't need to. We have enough value in our hand. We have value on board. We're doing pretty well here. Second fire elemental. How interesting. Still doesn't want to attack with the Sea Giant. So this is very similar to the previous game with Aya. My opponent just did not attack with Aya for several turns. And we seem to be replicating that situation here with the Sea Giant. It's very interesting. Now it's a shame we don't have the second spellstone in hand to get the buffs. But this is fine. I'm now just pushing damage to his face. Ignoring the board. And I presume he'll attack first with his 1/1 totem. But my weapon's being buffed. I have minions being generated onto this board. He's pretty much dead. Despite having a Sea Giant on board, despite having that 6 attack elemental. Devolve? Oh, hello, that's a Pyros. That is pretty good. He's actually taking back control of this board. This is really interesting. Huh. And we've just had another secret in play. That's pretty cool. Yeah, by killing the sentry, put a secret from your deck into the battlefield. Wow, free secret. I think I'll take that. So this board is pretty threatening. We have explosive trap in play, so we need to be conscious of the damage that we can do to him. We have 3 swings with our weapon here. The question is, what do I want to develop onto the board? Developing the Pyros seems sensible. He will no doubt trade into it. So the elemental goes back to hand. That's pretty good for us. Assume that means he'll now have to trade with the Sea Giant. That's even better for us. No, here's the Jade Lightning. Okay, fair enough. But we get the cat trick. And another charge on our bow. Is he going to attack? No, he does not attack with the Sea Giant. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So we can dig here with the tracking, look for something. We'll take the Spellbreaker. There is useful utility here with that. Usually you'd Spellbreak the Floating Totem, but in this instance, I'm happy to Spellbreak the Taunt Totem. And of course, drawing or discovering last with the Hunt Hero power. But we're putting him in a position here where he's very close to dying. We have the bow, we have the explosive trap, we also have a second explosive trap. So Even Shaman does not usually run any kind of healing, so no matter what happens, he's basically dead.
That's incredible.
Even if he rolls a Taunt Totem, it is game over for him. Yeah, the Lich King's a bit of a problem because he can get healing from the Lich King. See if we can discover a beast that does 2 damage via a battle cry to his face. Stone Dust Ball with charge is actually promising if we can get through the Lich King. There doesn't seem to be an easy way to just kill off the Lich King here, so developing the explosive trap, is that the way forward? We have a bear trap in play, so we developed the explosive. We just hope he doesn't get any kind of healing from the Lich King. And to be honest, we don't need to develop any kind of minion here. We can just sit back and wait and see what happens. We also have Azalina Soul Thief, and we could have played Azalina, okay, to have discovered a fire elemental, which we could have killed him with. Had I remembered that the fire elemental was returned to hand, I would have played Azalina and stolen it and then killed him with it. That would have been pretty cool. But it looks like he's trying to wait this out to see if he can get some healing from the Lich King.
Which tracks to follow?
If he manages to get healing, it could just be game over for us, because we may not be able to then get through his board, get through his taunts, I should say. There's 2 of them on board. We may not be able to get through them to kill him. So this bloat bat is facing down a fire elemental, a sea giant, the Lich King, and a thing from below. Let's see what he does here. And let's see if the Lich King has drawn him something useful.
What to do?
I think we're getting to a point where maybe playing Azalina would be of value to us, just to see if we can get a Crackle or a Jade Lightning. But playing Azalina when you have a hand chock full of value feels really, really bad, because you lose these other cards. So I'd rather play these other cards out first, and then play Azalina a bit later on. Look at him go with this board. 4 mana 7/7s now. And he's still not attacking. He's still getting all of this value from the Lich King. But, yeah, that's a Quickshot. And that's basically lethal. Okay, how interesting. Yeah, we just end it there. Thankfully, he wasn't able to get the healing spell from the Lich King. If he had been able to heal, would I have lost that game? Probably. Okay, this next game, we've got 3 secrets in hand, and we have the Spellstone. I mean, that's pretty good value, right? So we're going up against a rogue, and it's more than likely Kingsbane Rogue, because it's not Odd Rogue, his hero power hasn't changed, so it's probably Kingsbane. Now, this deck can pressure Kingsbane Rogue substantially early on, and if you pressure them enough in the first few turns, sometimes they just can't recover. Once they start swinging with a buffed up weapon that's got healing on it, then you're in trouble. This is really interesting.
Ha, this guy's toast.
That was actually a really good result from Wandering Monster. Because now my cards are being discounted as I draw them. That's really, really interesting.
I'll never tell.
So we get to play a Secret Keeper for free. And we get to, if we want, we get to coin out another secret. Is that worth doing? I'm going to hold back. I'm going to hold back and see what happens here.
Thank you.
Oh, Tomb Pillager. Maybe this is not Kingsbane Rogue. This could very well be Miracle Rogue. You don't often see Miracle Rogue played at this rank. Yeah, must be Miracle Rogue. But just too slow in this instance. Okay, next game is against a Paladin. So, Paladins are everywhere at this rank. But we have Explosive Trap. So that is one of our key ways of clearing dudes from the board. I've been seeing lots of people playing aggro Paladin, but I'm not really sure how effective it is, particularly with you know, decks that can clear dudes, right? Druids that run Swipe, for instance. Hunters, Secret Hunters running Explosive Trap. There is some more Reno Locks running around at the moment, so Reno Locks have various ways to clear board. I'm really just not sure about how effective aggro Paladin is, just because those dudes are so weak to board clears, to AoE.
Traveler.
I think if you're running an aggressive deck, you're better off playing Rogue, Odd Rogue.
I must move quickly.
The light.
And yeah, aggro Paladin that ropes on turn 1. So, no Explosive Trap in hand. But we can buff up Spellstone, so we can try and find a way to sort of outmatch him early on with those wolves. Cloaked Huntress will only get us value on one secret next turn, but I think it's still going to be worth doing. And why he hasn't made his play,
Astound.
I mean, honestly, what is there to think about? You either play something from your hand for 2, or you play your hero power. Come on. Now I'm playing this game at my PC, so I've got time. But quite often when I play games travelling on the train, I meet players who rope frequently, and it's so annoying because when you're on the train and you've got tunnels to contend with, connection black spots to contend with, the more that your opponent ropes, the less time you have to play, and the more likely you are to get into a tunnel before the game is over. So yeah, when I'm on the train, I really can't stand it when people rope, especially when they're just playing aggressive decks, quick decks that, you know, not too difficult to navigate. Like now, he's like, okay, what are you thinking about? Okay, you're thinking about the secrets. If you're worried about Explosive Trap, you may want to attack first, okay, with something that you've got on the board. Get the traps out the way, trigger them, and then do something from your hand. Having said that, we are putting him under a bit of pressure here. He can't deal with both of those minions, let alone one of those minions, actually. And just like that, we generate a board state with 4 bodies, 4 minions. That's really, really strong against the Paladin. Oh, that's really, really good. It's between the Huntress and the bow here. I'm going to take the Huntress.
Gotcha.
Because we have Subject 9 and we're going to be able to play secrets for free, and against the Paladin that's just ridiculous value. Ultimately, I don't even think we need Subject 9 here in this particular situation. We have the Spellstone, we have quite substantial presence on the board, which when combined with our hero power, it's a lot of attack that's going to be going to his face. Yeah, Subject 9 in this situation is just overkill. But hey, it's good overkill to have, right?
The light dims, but we fight.
Reporting for duty.
So it's just time for value. Okay.
Gotcha.
So we draw 4 secrets. Playing Subject 9, drawing the secrets, it thins out our deck.
Such easy sport.
And quite how he recovers from this, not entirely sure.
Back to your homes.
I mean, back to your homes with Judah Darkshire, that's, I guess, one way of trying to recover. You give your minions Divine Shield, make them harder to kill. What he really needs is he needs some dudes to stick on the board. That's what he really, really needs. So if they stick, he can buff them, and then he could use them to trade or to attack face. And even at this point in the game, when I have such a substantial board with secrets in play, I still value trading. I still value removing those Divine Shields. Because ultimately that's how I'm going to win this game. You know, we keep control of the board, and then we judge whenever it is the right time to go face. But we don't want to give him any outs. We don't want to give him an opportunity to make any kind of a comeback. We have Deathstalker Rexar as well for an emergency situation. But I wonder if the value from the Zombie Beast is even going to be needed in this particular game. Azalina Soul Thief is also a lot of fun. Becoming an aggro Paladin is pretty cool. But we don't want to play Azalina whilst Rexar is in our hand. We'd rather play Rexar first.
Reporting for duty.
And I think now is as good a time as ever. We clear the board. There are no dudes now on this board that can be buffed. And we push damage to his face. Against the aggro Paladin, this is a pretty good situation to be in, a good health total to be at. Secrets in play. Yeah, it's looking bad for him.
I wonder.
And it may just be fun to play Azalina, just to see, you know, what he's got in his hand. Although I suspect that any moment now we'll see a concede because,
Let
you know,
me think.
there's a lot of damage on board, and I think he's going to struggle to block it. I think the best he could do here is play a couple of dudes and play level up. So essentially he gets 2 talks in the way. That would save him.
Me think.
But long term, it's not great value for him. Just buffing up 2 dudes. Oh, there's a haha. And there's Patches! Who sadly is not in charge here. And there it is. It's over. Just like that. So, pretty sweet win there against the aggro Paladin, taking us to rank 3. Feels amazing. Okay, so Duwin's Subject 9 Secret Hunter doing serious work again for me in the November season. Going from rank 5 to rank 3 without losing a game feels pretty amazing with this deck. I would highly recommend it to you. The value in this deck is just incredible. You know, the situations that you find yourself in terms of Subject 9 synergizing well with the Cloaked Huntress, so you can play those secrets for free that you've drawn. Playing those spell stones early, summoning 4 wolves can just be game winning. The value from Deathstalker Rexar is pretty sweet, and of course Azalina Soul Thief giving you a refill of your hand when you need it. So yeah, strong deck. I would recommend that you guys follow Duwin on Twitter if you're interested in Hunter decks, because Duwin seems to be the Hunter expert that I place my faith in, and he hasn't steered me wrong yet. So yeah, do yourselves a favour, follow him on Twitter. So thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It feels really good to be able to showcase Hunter, because Hunter is one of my favourite classes in Hearthstone. It was the first class that I played when I started engaging with Hearthstone in 2014. Hunter was my first class, and for quite some time it felt that Hunter was missing something. But now when I can play a deck like Subject 9 Hunter and do really well with it on the ladder, it just feels really amazing. So yeah, here's to Duwin giving us more cool Hunter decks to play in the future. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys all again very soon for more Wild Mode fun.